Hey everyone, this is Shauna coming to you again from Norwalk Home. I missed my Memorial Day upload this week earlier, but I have been thinking a lot about what I would like to come and tell you. I wanted to make it as a encouraging video. You guys seem to enjoy those, and I put up a couple of book chat videos, but I haven't sat down and given you an old-fashioned kind of pep talk since Mother's Day, I don't think, and it seems to be happening every holiday. I gave one on Easter, I gave one on Mother's Day, skipped my birthday, and this should have been the one for Memorial Day. So I'm just a few days late on that, but maybe we can use this as the kickstart to our pandemic summer. um, One of the things that I've been doing over the course of the last few weeks, like a lot of us, is watching movies and watching documentaries. And one of the documentaries that I watched was about the small miracles in nature. And one of the things that I saw really gave me a lot to think about. It was about the resurrection plant. It's also called the Jericho Rose. It's got a few other names. I'll leave an article about it down below in the description once I upload this to YouTube. But the so-called resurrection plant, or the Jericho Rose, um, grows in the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico and in parts of the southwestern U.S., um, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, that area. And basically what happens is when the weather gets really arid and dry, the plant dries out like plants do, but instead of dying right away, what it does is it curls in on itself in a spiral, and it hides the seed pods that it has, and it survives on a type of sugar substance that it stores in its cells. And when and if the weather becomes more moist, like even if it rains once a year, the plant will, if there's enough moisture in the air, it will then um, start to, over the course of several days, open up and flower. And then the seeds will come out and it will reproduce itself. If not, it will basically exist as a tumbleweed and hopefully be blown by the wind to somewhere more hospitable where it can find even like a pond of water and grow. Occasionally they do die, but they can last in a dormant state that appears dead for 2 to 3 years. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So it got me thinking about this whole pandemic and this whole way of our lives have changed. And I've talked in previous videos about the fact that this is changing and we need to look for the positive aspects of this. And I've talked about some of those, but I was just encouraging us to think this week about, some of us are in that frame where we're kind of closing in on ourselves and we're just sort of protecting and waiting for something, waiting for a more fertile time to occur, if I can use that term. And so, what are we doing while we wait? What's keeping us going? What is the hope that we have that keeps us going? And I think we have to be careful about this idea of going back to a false normal, because whatever we go back to is not going to be the normal that we're used to, but it doesn't mean that it has to be all bad. We are going to go through some dry times still. Um, but I want us to focus on the things that this time is doing for us, and doing for the world and making us into something else. I mean, we've all gotten new skills. We've slowed down. Even those of us who are not by nature patient and kind of slow and plodding, we've all been forced to dial down a few notches. And that's what most of us have um, spent more time with our families, with our friends, with our significant others. Alone in this, if you're alone in this pandemic, that's a different story. So you're learning how to be with yourself more. Um, you're learning how to make friends with the silence more, which can be valuable as well. But that's not the focus of this video. So we've learned to do that. We've also seen pollution levels diminish, even though as we open up more, you're starting to see them come back a bit. Um, Travel and pollution are still significantly down in most places from where they have been, as are gas prices. So there is a silver lining there. But my question for us is, what is our resurrection? What resurrection are we looking for? And what's keeping us in hope while we wait for that resurrection? What are you hoping to see? What are you hoping to have flower? Look for those things and start now in the midst of this dry season to plan for and take from that so you can feed on the sweetness of that hope that you have, and use that to help you seek the truth about that, who you are and who you were made to be. Seek for the truth of that and feed on that. And don't forget that in spite of how bad this whole epidemic, this whole pandemic has been, and how unbelievably mean-spirited and foolish some of the public discourse has been, and how it can lead us to some very strange conclusions about things, that the truth still exists, that hope still exists. There is a growing spirit of community around the world. There is a notion that's growing in some sectors that sacrifice is possible. And not only is it possible, it may be desirable. Now, I'm not talking about martyrdom. I'm not talking about self-immolation here. I'm talking about putting somebody else before yourself in big ways and small ways that can really have ramifications that you're not aware of. But that's the question that I have for you today is, what sustains you while you wait for your resurrection? And what is your resurrection going to look like? Are you going to make it to resurrection, or are you just going to sit out in the desert and die? I mean, you have more direct control in some ways over your destiny than the resurrection plan. I mean, you can't do much about where you're planted. Right now, that's true. But you can certainly ready yourself for resurrection and for the season of rain when it comes. So make yourself a better person. Be more reflective, maybe journal more or pray more if you're into that. Or just nurture your inner self. We all need to take care of our outer self too. I mean, we need to exercise, we need to try to get some sleep. We need to try and get some sun when we can in a responsible way. But nurture yourself inwardly so that when this does end, and it will end eventually, it won't end soon, and it won't end probably in the way that we expect it. But prepare yourselves so that when it does end, you'll be a person that you can be proud of when you get out of it. That is my thoughts for the week, and what I plan to do to make that happen is just to continue to stay on my schedule, to read my shelves. I'm really enjoying some great books right now that are building me up on the inside and giving me an escape from some of the less than pleasant news, not only in the news, but around me right now. We're all fine here. Um, Having some difficulties with the particulars of the quarantine in terms of just isolation fatigue, just tired of being alone together. I mean, this is day 72 for us. Today is May 26th, 2020, and it's day 72. So we're all a little tired of it, but we're all doing fine, and I hope that this little um, reflection on nature wasn't too preachy, wasn't too prescriptive, but I hope that it helped you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Be healthy. Talk to you later.